Would you like to learn 3 ways to make quick and easy pop-up cards? Stay with me, and today I'll share these 3 with you. They're very, very straightforward. The first one, you just need to buy pop-up dies or a pop-up set. That's the quickest and the easiest one because the dies already come with everything pre-planned for you. You just need to die cut the pieces and assemble them together. This one is another set from BB Cameron by Spellbinders. I cut all the pieces out of cardstock. I cut the wing, the solid bit, out of vellum, and the detail out of cardstock, and I'm layering them. I wanted the wings to be a bit dainty, and these dies, they will mark the scoring lines for you. So I'm gonna fold all those lines on the body of my butterfly, and then the mechanism, the pop-up mechanism, you start folding the center line, and then I just folded kind of accordion style all the other lines, and it doesn't really matter much with like direction that you fold them. Just make sure that you score them well, you press them down, maybe use your bone folder, and then you just need to know where that center fold is, because that's the one you're gonna need to start. So I already have my wings done and the body, and now we're gonna assemble it. As I said before, you don't need the fancy stuff, but these products, they save you a lot of time because there's so much thought that goes into it. There's also a folding line on the wings, so I'm gonna fold them, and I'm gonna add adhesive to those tabs that I just folded along the wings. And then I also need to add adhesive to my mechanism. The body, I used liquid glue, and because it's folded, it took me a little bit longer, but the rest, you could use liquid glue on everything, but I just find that the dry adhesive, it's quicker. So you just add those 2 wings along that center fold, and then I'm gonna add adhesive to the tabs at the end of the mechanism, both of them. And I'm gonna remove the protection of that adhesive, and I'm gonna fold it around in a way that those tabs will be attached to the underside of my wings, like here. You can see here. And it forms kind of a square shape. And you're gonna have 2 square shapes once you do both sides. You just need to press it down, make sure that it's well adhered. If you do use liquid glue, you're gonna have to hold that for a while until the glue dries. That's why I prefer the double-sided tape. As you can see here, the mechanism is ready. I'm just gonna add glue to the body. I added too much glue. You don't need to add glue to the head and half of the bottom half of the body. But I removed it with my fingers. And then, as I said, if you use liquid glue, you have to give it some time for it to be stuck down. I had to come back and add a tiny bit of glue and use my reverse tweezers to hold it down until it dried. Now I'm gonna add double-sided adhesive to the 2 sides of my mechanism when you stretch it, when you press it down. Those 2 longer sides, not the tab that we glued to the wings. And then you just put it along the folding line of the inside of your card base, close it, and that's it. It will be in place, it will be all done, and you can work on decorating the front. I cut this kind of stamp shape. That die set is from Simon. I'm adding a cream color panel to the front of my card, and then the stamp shape. And I'm putting weights in between, like I had to edit it out because I didn't want the video too long, but off screen I put weights, I let it dry, and then these sentiments, they all have like 3 or 4 layers, and I just glued them off camera. I'm adding these tiny butterflies. They are also from Simon. And I'm gonna add a few sequins, and that's all for the front of the card. I try to keep the front of all three cards kind of simple because the surprise is on the inside. The inside is where the most special detail will be for all three. I really love interactive cards, and my very first video, that is an awful video, but if you want, I can add it to the information below. If you want to watch it, I showed you a different way to make a pop-up card and two other ideas of interactive cards. I really love the interactive features. For the second one, we're going to create a pop-up window on the inside and we're going to decorate it. So I am just trimming down a little bit on both sides of my panel. You don't really need to do this, but I just didn't want to take the risk of them lining up. This will be the inside of our card. This will be the pop-up panel. So I'm marking the center of the panel up and down, and I'm going to show you here on camera. So I just marked it with a pencil so I know where the center is. I'm going to do the same thing with the die that I use. I really wanted an oval one, but I didn't have a good oval shape. So I'm using this one instead. You just need to make sure that the width of your die is smaller than the front side of your card. So you have a frame, you have some space around the frame that you're going to die cut. You see it here in a minute. I hope it will make sense when you see it. So I marked the center. I put the ruler down and I'm just lining up the center of my die to the center of my card. If it's not perfectly centered, it won't make much of a difference. But I didn't want it to be too wrong, I guess. So I'm going to run it down through my die cutting machine. I'm not going to use that shape from the center that I die cut. I'll save it for a future card. Here I am tracing the center, and then I'm going to erase those pencil marks. But you don't really need to do that. You can just fold it and use your bone folder. So we're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to fold it again. So those edges, we're going to fold it to the center fold, and we'll do it both sides. It will be kind of accordion fold as well. So you fold one side, turn it around, fold the other side in the opposite direction. And you're going to have kind of an M shape when you look at it from the side. And this will be the mechanism that you're going to add to the inside of your card base. So this one doesn't really need to be extremely heavyweight. If your card base is heavyweight cardstock, the center could be 80 GSM and should be okay. So I'm going to add glue to one of the sides because I forgot to do something that I wanted. If you want to stamp something on your like along your border, along the edges, do it before you glue it down. I wanted to and I forgot, so that was too late for me. And then I'm gonna ink blend some clouds on the inside of the card base, and you'll be able to see it through the window. But you could decorate this any way you wanted. You could use colored cardstock and use, I don't know, different images on the inside. Because I'm going to use kind of nature themed for all of my three cards, I chose to do just a sky, a very light blue sky. And then I'm going to add glue to the other side of my pop-up mechanism, and I'm going to stick it down along the inside border of my card. You see here in a second. Then you just wait for it to dry a little bit, give it a second, and then you can decorate that frame, the inside and the outside, however you want. You can add as many elements as you want. You just need to double check and make sure that once you fold the card close, that those images that you stuck down are not sticking out past the board of the card. That's it. These are the images that I chose. You can go back and pause or slow down if you want to see the products that I used. I am not showing you how I made them. As I said before, my cards are usually very die cut heavy, but you can use any stamped image. Like if you use stamp and color, you will spend less time and less money than me. So feel free to use whatever you like and whatever you have. I am going to glue some of these kind of in and out. So those leaves from this flower, they are over the frame and the stem is behind the frame. So that gives me a little bit of stability. I'm going to use my reverse tweezers to hold them down until the glue dries. And I'm making sure that I'm not fully closing the card. So if glue oozes out, it's not gonna like shut it down. Glue is shut. So I'm just adding my elements how I want them. I put all those flowers and leaves on the left hand side. My bird, my hummingbird, I had to trim down the beak because the beak was sticking out of my card when I closed it. So I had to trim it down by quite a lot, but I think it still looks cute. You tell me, you let me know. You can see here. Yeah, it's way smaller than the original, but I think it works. So for this one, I'm going to use this element at the front, just a sentiment, and I'm going to give you the heads up. My camera stopped recording and I didn't realize for a while until I was halfway through the third card. So I'm just going to tell you what I did. You're not going to miss much. So I ink blended a little bit of gold ink on the front of my panel. I'm going to stick this down and add the sentiment, and I'll show you at the end the final card. But for the last idea, we're going to add some cubes as our pop-up element. For that, you just need a strip. This one is 1/2 inch, and I cut it 1/2 inch by 4, but I'm cutting it in half, so each one of them will be 1/2 inch by 2. I'm going to fold them in half and then fold the edges towards the center, and that will give me the cubes. So if you fold it back, you'll see that it will be kind of a square, and that square you can use one to add one element to the center of your card. I'll show you here in a second, but we're going to use 2, and we're going to do something similar to our first card. So if you use 2, you can fold the element that you want to pop up in half. It could be any element, and add it to the top of those 2 cubes, and they will open your element when you open the card. So what you can do is just take the cube down like so, and then when you fold the card, the cube will fold. When you open it, it will pop up, and whatever element that you add to the front of it, it will be kind of standing upright when your card opens. I didn't stick this one down. I'm just showing you, this is the footage that I lost. So I hope that makes sense. But what we're gonna do is actually stick these 2 together, and they will fold flat as well once you glue them to your card base. And here I'm going to show you just how you fold them. So you just fold them in the original position. There will be the half point, and you will glue half on each side of your card. Well, 1/4 to each side of your card. And once it opens, you have this shape. It will be 2 squares, 2 cubes, and your image will be folded, and you would glue it to the top of those 2 squares. I hope that makes sense. So this will be the result. You can see from the side how I glued and I adhered it, and we're just going to decorate it. So for this flower, I used these dies, and I layered the smaller one. They're kind of sunflowers, but I chose different colors, and I just glued them to that those 2 cubes. Here I'm gonna use this stencil and just ink blend a little bit of gray ink. I kind of wish I had put a little bit more. I was afraid it would be too dark, it would be too much, but you can barely see it. I just think it gives a bit of dimension to that stamp shape. I'm gonna use the same one that I used on the first card, glue it down, add a sentiment. This one I'm gonna add just a few sequins to decorate around my sentiment, nothing else. And the flower on the inside will be my main element. If you want more ideas like these, just let me know in the comments. I am happy to share some different ones. And if you want to see that first video, just let me know and I will send you a link as well. My first video is pretty bad. I had some problems with that video. Once I had finished, somehow I lost the footage, I lost the editing, I lost the audio, I lost everything. So I had to redo it all over again and I was very upset. I was almost crying. It was my first ever video. I wasn't very patient. This is the final result. And this is our last card. This is the previous one, so I just added a happy birthday sentiment. This is when we open the inside, and this is the first card with the butterflies. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy crafting. Bye.